All right. So I read Fourth Wing, one of the books that was highly, highly recommended by my wife, right behind A Court of Thorns and Roses. I did read A Court of Thorns and Roses. I thought it was, okay. I think I gave it like a 75. For reference, Fourth Wing, I give an 85. I liked it more than A Court of Thorns and Roses. My wife was right. And up before I continue on, this video is going to have spoilers for the whole book. Anything that happens in the book, any deaths, any major plot points, I'm going to talk about all of them. Because she said, like, oh, you're not as excited for A Court of Thorns and Roses. So I feel like Fourth Wing would be more your speed. And it was. It had good action. It had a good magic system. And honestly, I think even the sex scenes were better written in Fourth Wing than they were in ACOTAR. I don't know why. Maybe it was the audiobook kind of ruined it for me in ACOTAR, and I actually read it here in Fourth Wing. I might have to go back and read A Court of Thorns and Roses again, mainly because for Fourth Wing, for this review, I used these ladies, the Fantasy Fangirls. Their battle briefs, their recaps of the book really helped me in writing down my notes for this book, because I don't have the Kindle version. I feel like the Kindle version would be really good for me to the Kindle is really good for me to highlight and write notes, because it transfers over from your phone to your Kindle device. So the way I'm going to review this book, or really it's not really a review, it's just me giving my thoughts and highlights on it. I have all these tabs open because a lot of it really is just fan art and how I picture the characters in the book. And a lot of the moments that stick out for me in the book are just, that moments between characters, something you can't really show a picture of. And then I still need to figure out how I'm going to do the tier system, because I feel like the tier system, the S tier, A tier, B tier, is a really good way of reviewing books, because you can put two books in the same tier, but you can like one book more than the other. That's something I really like about that system. But anyway, Fourth Wing, I'm going to talk about these tabs first, and then I'll talk about the notes that I have written down, because it's a bunch, because mainly from Fantasy Fangirls recap. And when it comes to the ending, since I used them to help me recap, I'm just going to react to the last bit here, the 36 to 39. I'm not going to react to the whole video because it's almost 3 hours long. I'm just going to react to the battle brief, which is, I think it's 5 minutes. Yeah, it usually takes them about 5 minutes to recap the chapters. But here we go. Xaden Ryerson, this is pretty much, this is how I pictured him, the way they described him, down to his scar. I don't think they talk about his hair too much, but I think this is a good representation on how he would look like. Next, we got Violet. I like this one. This is a really good headcanon, the way I picture her in my head. This one's also a really good one, but a lot of the fan art is her kind of looking like that, and like this, a little too much like Daenerys from Game of Thrones. Actually, this is really good. It's like blurry here, but from what I can tell, this is also a really good one. And then if I were to pick one fan art to really represent them, this would be the closest one. Next, we got Dane, and this really captures his pretend worried look and, oh, you're hurting my feelings. And also this one, but this one looks more like Hunger Games, the Gale from the movie, because all the rest of these, they look too mature, like older. This one's actually a pretty good one. Next, we got Rhiannon, and AI is really like crazy these days, because I thought this was for sure like a real person, and I think it just nailed it. This one, I picture her, and then also I picture this one as Rhiannon, because Rhiannon sounds like Rihanna, and this kind of looks like Rihanna. But when it comes to headcanon or who I picture as when I'm reading books, I like picking I like picking actors, who I think would be a good fit for the role. Next, we got Liam, this guy right here. I don't know why it's blurry when you expand it out, but this one's decent. This one's all right. That one's fine, but I feel like this one's a good one. Next, we got Jack Barlow, and this one looks a little too much like Liam. I don't know if they describe them both as, just tall blonde dudes, but this guy this guy would have been a really good Liam if this movie would have came out when the Hunger Games did, because the way he was in the Hunger Games is pretty much Liam in this book. Also, this guy, if they were to get this guy as Liam, I wouldn't be mad about it. Like he looks like he could play a good Liam. Next we got Imogen, and this image of Imogen, best one I've found so far, because there's not a lot of fan art or AI generated art for Imogen so far. This one looks too much like a Barbie or a Bratz doll. And my fan casting for Imogen would actually be Renee Rapp. I feel like if you just made her hair pink and shaved the side of her head, it'd be a really good Imogen. And now we got Andarna, and this is a really good picture of Andarna. I feel like the scales look too clean, like too armor. Thing about a lot of the art that I find I think I was on Google Images, because Images doesn't really show you the best art. I feel like right here you can tell Pinterest really knocks it out of the park. But yeah, the thing with Andarna is at least in Google Images, a lot of these images make her look like a baby. Like you can tell it's a baby. And the thing about it is, in the book, you can't tell that she's a baby right away, or people couldn't tell that she was a baby right away. So I feel like she looks more like a normal dragon. But this one's the best live action looking Andarna. If this was all gold, that would be how Andarna looks, because looking at it, you don't know how old this dragon is. It could be 100, it could be born last year. And I also like how the scales are kind of like scattered, I'd say. This is a really good this is what I picture when I read about Andarna. So same problem with Google not showing the best images of fan art. With Terran, a lot of this art doesn't really show his size the way it's described in the book, because a big thing in Fourth Wing is that Violet says that she doesn't even reach his ankle. But I'm kind of wondering, well, where is his ankle? Because if you look at a dog, in the front, you would probably call this his ankle when it's his wrist. And in the back, this is his ankle. So which one is she talking about where she doesn't even reach his ankle? Like, I don't know the anatomy of dragons because they're mythical creatures, but would this be his ankle or would this be his ankle? Because the size would be different depending on which one you talk about, right? Because for this one, she doesn't reach this ankle, or she for sure doesn't reach this ankle. But depending on which one she's talking about, I feel like his size would differ. You know what I mean? This is another good one for Andarna. And then we get this one. I really like this picture that shows the difference between Terran and Andarna. Next thing I want to look at pictures of is going to be the parapet. I like how this one looks, but I think this one wins from how it would look. I don't think it's that far, but I like how this one looks. And then we get the gauntlet, and we get it from this user, Balsamic Vinegar Chip. This just really helped me get a good visual on how the gauntlet looked like, and it actually looks pretty fun. I kind of want to try it if it wasn't for the fall to your death thing, like that one friend that was super excited about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to art work of Fourth Wing and fan art. Now I'm going to go over my notes up until the last episode of Fantasy Fangirls and give you a little bit of my thoughts. The setting was great. It was easy to follow, and the magic system seems simple enough that way you like to follow. Like you get your dragon, you get your power. If you don't use your power, you might explode. And it is also, the power is based on who you are deep inside. And I kind of like that. It makes you really wonder what your power would be. We get Violet's mother, for whatever reason, forces her to become a dragon rider. And her sister gives her armor and advice to stay away from Xaden and to find Dain. Right away, whenever she sees Xaden, I'm like, okay, Dain's out of the picture. Yeah, you had a crush on him your whole life, but the way you're talking about this dude, you're going to end up with him. We get to the parapet, and this dude named Dylan is just talking about how, oh, I'm gonna live, I'm gonna go home, and I'm gonna marry my girlfriend. And I'm like, you're dead. You're talking too hopeful, buddy. And sure enough, he died. Violet gets through. When we cross the parapet, that's when we meet Jack Barlow. He's like one of those just like irritating villains that are evil just to be evil, and you cheer whenever he does end up dying. Violet gets sorted into second wing, but Xaden's like, no, you come here. And she gets sorted into fourth wing, where we get the title drop. Danes tries to get Violet to get into the scribes, which doesn't work. Violet, is trying to prove herself or make a name for herself or prove to herself that she can make it through the War College. Dane, I guess if you want to keep Violet safe, I get it. But at a certain point, you just got to let her do what she wants to do, have her prove that she's meant to be here, and let her rise to the occasion or just fall on her ass. We learn about dragons, that there's this one black dragon, and as soon as they mentioned that dragon, I knew it was going to be Violet's. We learn that Terran's last rider tried to revive Brennan, Violet's brother, but failed. I wondered what happened to Brennan's dragon, because I thought that would kind of be the story. So if Brennan died, then Brennan's dragon is out there. So I thought that would pick Violet, even though there's that rule where dragons are not allowed to have the riders of a relative of a previous rider. But I thought that was going to be like a broken rule when it came to Violet. Violet wins her fights by poisoning her opponents, but then goes overboard with one of them, and Xaden steps up and just mops the floor with her, just straight bullies her, and it's pretty funny and flirty at the same time. We get to the presentation when they're walking with the dragons, and there's a golden feather tail there. Jack Barlow's like, oh my god, why is that dragon so weak? We need to kill it. Like, it should die. And then we get to threshing, and of course they're going to go and try to kill the golden dragon. Violet goes to protect the golden dragon, but Xaden is there looking at him, and he can't really help. But then Terran shows up, says, step aside, Silver One, and then kills one of the attackers while Jack runs away. So they get back to the school, and Violet not only writes Terran's name, but Andarna's as well. I thought that's something I didn't call beforehand. Dane keeps being a Debbie Downer and wants Violet to choose Andarna because Terran is mated with Sigel, because of course they are. And if they're bonded together, if Violet dies, Xaden dies. If Xaden dies, Violet dies. So now they got to care about each other, because of course they have to. Violet can't stay on Terran as they fly, so Terran uses magic, but she doesn't want him to use the magic to keep her on there. And I'm like I didn't see the big problem with it, but I get where she's coming from. Violet gets attacked in her room, and Andarna stopped time. That was a really good scene in the book. Xaden shows up after that and kills everyone, like if it was like an anime scene. And then we discover that Andarna's a baby, and her ability to stop time is just part of her being a baby dragon, not necessarily Violet's signet through Andarna. And then they have to keep the Feathertails, they have to keep this a secret, because then people will abuse the power of baby dragons. And I thought, how are you going to keep this a secret now? People saw you with both of the dragons. You wrote both of their names down. It was a bit of a spectacle, and she's a baby, right? She's gonna grow, I'm assuming. So how are you gonna explain that? And then there's something else, but that's in Iron Flame. I'm not gonna talk about that right now. Next day, Liam steps in and gets assigned to keep an eye on Violet, and the wing leader Amber gets called out for attacking Violet in her sleep, and she gets killed by Terran. This is where I check out with Dane, because he defended Amber, and now he doesn't want to follow the rules, and he calls Violet a liar, and he tries to force the memory from her. And this is where I start saying what they say in this podcast: God fucking damn it, Dane. And it's pretty funny. But somehow Terran shares the memories with the rest of the dragons, and I feel like that's a bit of a MacGuffin, like a convenient skill to get the plot moving along, which, all right, I'll give it to you guys. Amber's dead. I don't care. Next I got on my notes is just dragon sex. And then so apparently when dragons are in the mood, it affects the writers. That's all I'm gonna say. Violet learns shielding really quick because she's the main character, and then Violet and Xaden make out. Xaden now takes over supervising Violet. We get the squad battles, and Violet has to steal a map from her mom. Violet wins, and they go on a trip. They reunite with Mira, and they visit Rhiannon's family. Xaden shows up like 3 days later, because that's apparently how long the mated dragons can stay apart, or is it just like an excuse type of thing? Who knows? Then Griffins attack the base where Mira is at, and Violet and Xaden have to leave, and then they kiss again. Sometime later, Violet learns that Mira survived that attack, and she's relieved. Then we get the war games, and I think this is where Terran gets the saddle, which at this point of the book I thought would have been a normal thing. Like maybe they get the saddle in graduation and you have to prove you could stay on your dragon first before you get a saddle. But no, everybody's just barebacking it the whole time, which, okay, I guess. Violet's team has to get an egg, and of course, Jack Barlow's the one guarding it. Jack Barlow actually ends up stabbing Liam, and Violet has to stop time to save him. Violet is pissed, and then this is where she activates her signet, her lightning powers. She becomes Sasuke from Naruto. She just, uses lightning to kill Jack. And the theory is that Jack isn't dead, but I think he is. Violet does not like that she's a lightning wielder, but everybody's like excited for her. I'd be excited for her, but she's not, because what does lightning represent other than destruction? Because she's like, lightning is just destruction, and is that what she is deep down? Like, is she just a weapon? Who knows? It might be like a balance thing where because, she's physically weak, she needs a power that'll make her powerful. Xaden has enough of Dane's coddling Violet, and he makes a good point that a weapon can be used to save people. Later on, we get another sex scene, and I think I've already mentioned this, but I do think the sex scenes are better written here than they were in A Court of Thorns and Roses, mainly because of the audiobook. I'd probably just have to go back and read it. But I did find it annoying that Xaden was doing the whole, oh, don't fall in love with me, or I'm not what you want. I'm a lost soul. I'm a lonely guy. I'm like, dude, she's telling you yes, go for it. You're good. I thought it was funny that during sex, Violet shoots lightning whenever she crescendos. The next day when she's training with Professor Carr, and then Terran says, shall I get the wing leader? I'll admit that was funny. We get more sexual tension between Violet and Xaden for a while until they do the deed again, and then Violet finds Xaden being emo on the parapet. Oh, this is after the party where I think the king shows up and she's there with Liam, and that's where we get a sense that everybody's super prejudiced against the marked ones. And it's the day that Xaden's dad died. So yeah, he's going to be upset about it, and he was on the parapet. So whenever they're in the room, they get interrupted, and it's another war game situation. I noticed this. So Xaden and his group in the war games are all marked ones, and I don't know if I missed it, they were all marked ones, but they all get sent to the same place, and then Violet wasn't supposed to be with them, but Xaden told her to come anyway. And then this is where Dane's being a little bitch about it. Like he tells her, oh, I'm gonna miss you, because he knows it's a trap. And he doesn't say anything about her. He doesn't really care about Violet. He just is upset that she doesn't do what he says. So Xaden and his crew and Violet land at where they're supposed to be at, or before where they're supposed to be at. And then Griffins show up, and that's when all is revealed that Xaden is working with the Griffins and that they're trying to fight off Venom and Wyvern. And when I read that part, I was like, oh snap, Violet's being betrayed. I was like, oh snap, it's being revealed what I kind of thought throughout the whole book, that maybe the Griffins aren't necessarily the bad guys. I didn't think for a second that this was going to be like a betrayal thing. And then it's also revealed that the whole war between dragons and Griffins is really just Griffins trying to get the supplies that they need so they can fight off the Venom. The wards are made from that material that they need, because it's the only material that can kill Venom. And then the group then goes to the outpost, and that's where they're told that if their task is to survive, and then it's written by Dane's dad. That's where I left off, and this is where I'm going to pick up by reacting to the Fantasy Fangirls podcast. So here we go.
On that topic, we also talk spoilers. Everything from the entire Fourth Wing book, the Iron Flame excerpt, and speculations, except for the audiobook previews. We know some of you don't want to know anything until the book actually comes out, so we are not specifically talking about any of that. We do have.
Just gonna say, this is the last episode. At the end of the book. Enough said. And now, Lexi, it's been my honor.
You're gonna make me cry already.
To share this book with you. Let's close it out and join the revolution.
Huzzah! Oh man, this is going to be a tough one, but we're so excited. Let's do this. Before we begin our dive into this final stretch of chapters, let us begin, as always, with our battle brief. Nicole, take it away with chapters 36 through 39.
Nicole.
Chapter
Okay.
36. Standing on the battlements of Athbean, Liam, using his Farsight signet, sees 4 figures basically apparate outside of the city of Resin.
That's a little, like, is that Liam's only signet? like if if everybody's signet is like something cool, like summoning and shadows, lightning. I think one of them has water. They can control water. Another one controls metal, and he can just see really far. I'd be a little upset, but how would that be Liam at his core? Like he sees everything. Like he's very observant, maybe. I don't know. That was kind of a bit of a, okay superpower. Like not even lasers through your eyes or something like that, or a shotting gun where you could like put somebody in a genjutsu, something. But Liam just having farsight, I wanted something better for him.
These 4 figures are wearing purple robes and have red veins. Welcome to the chat, Venom! And shit's about to get fucked up. 7 Griffin riders arrive, and the one who is just oh so delightful by the lake approaches. It is a death sentence, and they are going down there, but not you all, though. Scram. A torn-up Xaden knows he has to make an impossible decision. He decides to fight. And as does everyone else in this makeshift squad, Violet included. Of course, after checking with Taryn, our favorite curmudgeon, who's ready for some fucking blood. We will feast on their bones, Silver One. Point made, my guy. Gearing up for battle, Xaden reminds us the only way to take them out is by dagger. You hear that, Lexi? The only way to take them out is by dagger.
Yeah.
But after a heartfelt goodbye with Andarna and an approval...
Yeah, the dagger. The only way to take them out is by using the dagger that's specifically made from the material that is also powering up the wards. Gotcha. Because I feel like to really understand books or to really get the full scope of books, yeah, you're going to have to reread them. Because I just blaze through them, whether I'm just reading it or just listening to the podcast while doing like chores or something like that. And there is some details that I missed. The veil being powered by that metal is one of the details that I missed. So I'm glad that these girls are doing this podcast because they actually really have really good insight. They're really, really into the book. Anyway.
By dagger. But after a heartfelt goodbye with Andarna and an approval from Sigil for Violet's choices, the 2-legged flying creatures come down from the sky. Welcome to the chat, Wyvern.
And I remember, I think this is when I remember when my wife was reading this book, and she must have just gotten to this part because out of nowhere she tells me like, hey, what do you know about dragons? Or like, what do you think dragons look like? Like how many arms? And I'm like, the wings and legs. Like no, they're not dragons, they're wyverns. And I'm like, okay. And then she shows me pictures of like that all of media was basically have wyverns. Like Game of Thrones had wyverns, Harry Potter had wyvern, and the only true dragon in media was How to Train Your Dragon, and I thought that was funny. But yeah.
Xaden gives Violence a dagger and promises that if they live, he will tell her everything that she wants to know. I'm holding you to that in iron flames, Xaden. It's time for battle, and immediately chaos ensues. And after unsuccessfully killing a Venom, because apparently they're fireproof, a squad member, Soleil, finds an abandoned mine, and they begin ushering civilians out towards it. But a Venom lands near them and begins channeling magic straight from the Earth's core, causing anything and anyone to shrivel up into a sack of human skin, including Soleil and her dragon. Holy shit.
So I don't know who that is. I don't know if I missed that, if she was there the whole time. She's just another side character, like a side marked one. I think I straight up missed the part where they suck the energy out of the dragon and out of the rider, because I feel like that'd be a huge amount of energy, and they'd use that to be super powerful if they straight up absorb the energy from another dragon. Like I felt like that would have been a bigger problem, but somehow I missed it.
There's an outpost which Taryn states has a container with the Mari family crest on it, question mark, and it's highly unstable. But our Ravenclaw is 2 steps ahead, getting Taryn into position as around them Liam wields spears of ice. What? Taryn
Liam,
deep
hang
and
on.
blows the
Liam. Spears. So he has 2 powers, like 2 signets, but he has 1 dragon. I need to figure out how that works, but all right. I stand corrected. Liam has ice powers. I thought that was the comedic relief, the class clown. I thought he was the one with ice powers, but he might have been the one with metal powers. So, okay, no, that's fine. Liam has decent powers.
The damn thing up, but the Venom survived. Damn it. It's almost like Xaden was right, and the only thing that kills them is daggers. Who knew? But there's a new problem. There's more Venom and Wyvern, and it's time to play distraction. Our girl wields lightning more and hits the bullseye, seeing a Wyvern drop straight out of the sky. Violet gets momentarily distracted by Xaden being an absolute.
I just noticed her shirt, Bisgayeth. I think. Let's see. I'll look it up later, but I feel like my wife would like a shirt like that. I might get her one.
Shadow Daddy, to the point that Taryn almost gets gutted by a Wyvern. Oops! Sigale to the rescue, though, but not without some major side-eye towards our girl. Violet's attention then switches to Liam, just in time to see him slit a Venom's throat. One down. They might actually be okay. But the hope does not last long. A Wyvern comes out of the blue and begins fighting with Day. Day does not live. A dragon without a rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead. Liam's heart begins to slow as Violet attempts to take him towards.
So sorry, real quick. I thought that was gonna be like a rule type of thing amongst the dragons. Like, oh, if a dragon dies, then the rider is executed, and that's part of the hardcore nature of the riders. But no, it's literally like a magic bond thing, where if the dragon dies, then all that power is removed from a human, which is relatively small, causes the human to die. But if the human dies, which again is relatively small, won't necessarily cause the dragon to die. But every other bond that they've had amplifies the last one. So when it comes to, I don't know what the exact number is, but depending on how strong the bond, then yes, the reverse can happen. It's another clarification that I had that really helped me get through this book and appreciate the book more.
Day's body, but she cannot get him there. Liam asks Violet to look after Sloane, and a distraught Violet agrees to his dying plea from her shadow.
Sloane, yeah.
Xaden arrives and takes Liam to Day, and Liam's soul is sent to Malik next to his dragon.
Oh, can I get the biggest no ever? No! Liam!
But we're still in battle, and dozens of Wyvern.
I will say that death really, like, I felt for it. I felt that death. It was the first death in a book where I was like, oh man.
Come down into the valley, and Violet is ready for revenge, and she launches into the air. But shortly after, Tarn roars in pain. That is all chapter 36. Whew, chapter 37. A Venom has a sword embedded into Tarn. Violet and the Venom begin to duel, but Violet is severely outmatched. Our girl gets a poisoned dagger shoved into her side, and the Venom gives us a very cryptic download. Yes, we will be talking about it. Xaden fills the area with shadows, disorienting the Venom, and our girl gets her second kill of the book. Goodbye, cryptic Venom. But Violet is definitely poisoned. She has just enough strength to make a plan. She's going to take out the second to last Venom with lightning, and Xaden can handle the last one. Using every ounce of energy she has and then some, Violet wields lightning at the Venom, but she's burning out, and Tarn is not having it. Let me help, a golden voice exclaims, and together with Indarna, Violet stops time to control the lightning to strike true onto the Venom. He dies instantly. Xaden gets the last Venom with a beautiful.
That part was really cool where she uses. So I thought that she just sends lightning, but apparently when she freezes time with Indarna's power, she's actually is able to control lightning, like actually move it and direct it, which I thought that was really cool. It's like it's the only lightning wielder I know, Sasuke, when he's fighting his brother Itachi, and he uses a low power Chidori to make like a lightning dragon and send it down. It's just, that part I liked it.
Beautifully lethal dagger move, but the black blood pouring from Violet's side causes her to fall off Tarn's back. Chapter 38. Violet falls, but our incredibly beautiful shimmering gold dragon stops time again again and catches her. Then when time resumes, an absolutely panicked Xaden begs her to fight the poison that is cutting off her magically before she is knocked out. This will be a theme in this chapter. Violet comes to and overhears the remaining members of the Marked One squad debate what to do next. Her blood is black. That's not good. They need to get her to a mender. But Nolan is 12 hours away in Bisgayeth, and Violet would be deader than doornails, so that's not an option. But just like a light bulb popping over Xaden's head, there's somewhere else, and he will save her. Ooh, mystery. And our girl's out again, and she wakes up, but everything hurts, and she has nothing left. She's being carried by Xaden, who has an irate Terran breathing down his neck. Xaden? A familiar voice says. But who could it be? But our protective shadow daddy utters in response only, you have to save her. Chapter 39. Who's that boy? It's Xaden. We're in his head, and poor guy is losing it.
So we get a different point of view. The only thing I can compare it to is the only other series, fantasy romance series that I've read, A Court of Mist and Fury. When I got to that part in A Court of Mist and Fury where it swaps perspective, I was like, whoa, where are we? It was that visceral of a reaction where I think that was the first time I read it, and I would close the book for a second, and then I opened it again to check which book I was reading, right? And now I realize that that's a trope, I guess, in books, that sometimes you'll get a different point of view, a different POV, and I like it. This book did a really good job at a different point of view as well.
Barely sane Xaden gives us hopeless romantic, the download we've all been craving. Homeboy fell first, yes! But Violet wakes up and she's healed! And she's like, what's wrong, Xaden? Doe-eyed and bushy-tailed. And sweet, naive Xaden is like, oh, maybe this won't be so bad after all. Oh, wait, she lost all her memories. This is awkward. It's all coming back. It's all coming back to Vi now. Where are we? Where is this mystery location? Surprise, Arisha lives. But this brilliant fucking woman kicks Xaden out of his own room because she remembers everything and she's pissed. Xaden joins his two best friends in the hall, and we get a quick update on the last 3 days. Violet will need to learn how to shield from Dane. 2 Griffin flyers survived. There was a box that Garrick's dragon was attracted to, and they have it in their possession, and they're figuring it out.
So that's another thing that I missed, my initial read of it. What's in the box? What is the box? Who someone's dragon was attracted to it? Is it not just metal for the wards? Is it like a dormant ward? Who knows? That's something that I think I missed in this book. Another thing that I missed.
And Xaden smells like dragon ass. After Xaden and Violet are bathed and looking like a snack, at least according to Xaden, Xaden asks Violet the all-important question, are you willing to fight with us? Violet confirms and all is right with the world, but Xaden's joy is quickly smothered. She's fighting with them, but no way in hell is she trusting him. But he admits in his head he loves her. Nicole weeps in a corner and is so happy. A sound knocks on the door. Who could that be? It's dramatic entrance Brennan Mender Sorringale. Welcome to the revolution, Violet.
Woo!
End of book.
All right, folks, that was a great
That part, that was bad. I liked it. I liked that. That's something that I didn't see coming. I don't know, because I'm still relatively new to books or fantasy books, but I feel like that's something I should have seen coming, but I didn't. They got me. It was a good book. It's a good book. So there you have it. That's my review of Fourth Wing. I am reading Iron Flame, but I'm also reading Dune Messiah. Don't know if I'm going to do a review on Dune because that's one of my favorite books, and that's for sure I'm going to have to do a reread before I even touch that book because it's just a huge book. But anyway, Fourth Wing. Really good book. I'll see what I read next, and I'll see you in the next one.